It was a rainy afternoon in Arkham. The heavy and oppressive clouds loomed over the city like a suffocating gray shroud. The cobblestone streets, wet from the constant rain, appeared deserted. An unsettling silence enveloped everything, broken only by the persistent echo of water hitting the windows. Every corner, every nook, seemed to have turned into a refuge of elongated and twisted shadows, as if something ancient and dark was awakening beneath the surface. In the heart of the city, amidst the imposing towers of Miskatonic University, Dr. Elizabeth Warren worked under the dim light of her lamp. The rain drummed insistently against the windows, but inside her office the sound felt distant, muffled by the vast collection of books and manuscripts that lined the walls. Each one of them, a doorway to the unknown, to knowledge that should never have been unearthed. The manuscripts that the doctor examined that afternoon were ancient, so ancient that their mere existence evoked a sense of unease. Worn scrolls, brought from forgotten lands and distant corners of the world. Every word carefully written, every symbol engraved with precision, spoke of an imminent evil, of something that existed long before humanity dreamed of fire. And at the center of it all was he, Nyarlathotep. Nyarlathotep, the crawling chaos. Not like other gods that slept in the depths of the cosmos, no. He was different. He did not sleep. He did not remain hidden. He walked among mortals disguised, bringing destruction, madness, and chaos in his wake. An ancient god whose manifestations could tear apart reality itself. His name echoed in Elizabeth's mind, growing louder with each page she read. Unease grew in the doctor's heart, for she knew that the texts were not mere warnings. The recent disappearances in Arkham, the rumors of ancient rituals and symbols engraved in places no one should see, all pointed toward a terrifying truth. Nyarlathotep was closer than anyone could imagine. A knock on the door pulled her from her thoughts. It was not the first in those days. A disturbing echo resonated in her mind. Mysterious disappearances, rumors about symbols engraved on ancient buildings, and anonymous letters had arrived at her office in a constant drip. This time, however, the letter she held in her hands not only described those symbols, it mentioned something else, a power that seemed to awaken in the shadows.
Disappearances, symbols, a cult that gathers in the dark corners of Arkham. This can't be a coincidence.
Just as Elizabeth was trying to process the information, the library door opened slowly, creaking slightly. A boy, no more than 10 years old, entered timidly with hesitant steps. His eyes, dark and glassy, seemed to gaze beyond reality, as if he were trapped in a world that few could understand. It was Samuel, an orphan who had been seen wandering the halls of the university several times.
I've seen him. In dreams. He is there, in the shadows. He wants to return. The symbols. I see them everywhere.
How is this possible? What have you seen, Samuel?
The boy with a trembling voice began to describe in disturbing detail the symbols he saw in his dreams. They were the same ones Elizabeth had found in the documents she was investigating. This couldn't be a mere coincidence. Something greater, something dark was about to happen. Guided by Samuel's unsettling words and the ancient writings she had examined, Elizabeth decided to investigate the places mentioned in the letter. Arkham, an ancient and enigmatic city, was a labyrinth of hidden secrets. Every corner seemed to whisper forgotten stories, steeped in a latent darkness waiting to be unearthed. Along with the boy, she ventured toward an abandoned church, a place the town's residents avoided and spoke of in hushed tones, as if its name invoked bad luck. The church doors, weathered and worn, creaked open, revealing an interior cloaked in dust and shadows. The wooden beams, blackened by time, rose like the exposed bones of a dying creature. As Elizabeth and Samuel explored, a chill ran down both their spines. The atmosphere was thick with a palpable energy, as if the echoes of ancient prayers still resonated within the crumbling walls. There, among the cracks in the walls and under the rotting floorboards, they found the symbols, static, yet charged with an indescribable energy that seemed to pulse in sync with their hearts.
They're exactly like the ones in the manuscript, but something is wrong. They don't move like the ancient texts said, but I can feel their power. Something is awakening them.
Samuel, although he didn't fully understand Elizabeth's words, felt the same pulsing discomfort in the air. His connection to the occult was deep. He could see beyond the visible, and that terrifying vision fascinated and terrified him in equal measure. With a trembling voice, he exclaimed,
They're close. They are watching us.
Suddenly, both felt the unsettling presence of strange figures in the shadows, hooded figures that seemed to follow them at every turn. Elizabeth and Samuel realized they were being stalked by these unknowns, who watched them from every corner, always at a distance, but always present. Their investigation led them to uncover something even more disturbing. A cult dedicated to Nyarlathotep was attempting to revive ancient rituals in the Dunwich Woods.
This cult, they're trying to bring him back. If they complete the ritual, there will be no way to stop him.
With this unsettling information in their hands, Elizabeth and Samuel decided to venture into the Dunwich Woods. These woods, shrouded in an aura of mystery and legend, were known for their dense underbrush and echoes of ancient horror stories. Barely illuminated by the moonlight, the trees seemed to come alive with every step they took, their shadows elongating like dark tentacles seeking to ensnare them. There, among the underbrush and twisted trunks, they found what they were looking for, the entrance to a forgotten crypt, hidden among the earth's secrets. Inside, at the heart of the crypt, they found a ceremonial chamber, a place where time seemed to have stopped. The symbols precisely carved into the walls evoked a strange and disturbing sense of unease, as if the shadows themselves twisted in their presence. And at the center of the chamber, a twisted and grotesque statue depicted Nyarlathotep, a manifestation of the horror lurking in the darkness.
He is here. I can feel him.
Suddenly, the boy fell to his knees, immersed in a deep trance. His lips began to move, uttering words in an ancient, inhuman language, resonating in the crypt like an echo of the forgotten. Elizabeth, desperate and terrified, tried to pull him out of his trance, but at that moment, the doors of the crypt burst open with a creak, ominously. The cultists had arrived, ready to complete the ritual that would invoke the darkness.
Samuel, wake up. We have to get out of here.
The cultists surrounded Elizabeth and Samuel, creating a circle of threatening shadows. The atmosphere in the crypt became dense, almost unbearable, as if the very air was tightening around them. The leader of the cult, an imposing figure dressed in a black robe that seemed to absorb light, began to recite dark incantations. His voice echoed like a relic of antiquity, charged with power and malice.
The crawling chaos demands his return. Nyarlathotep will rise once more to bring chaos to this world.
Samuel's eyes widened in terror. He was aware that the words being chanted would awaken the entity from the depths. Elizabeth, realizing the urgency of the situation, shouted.
No, we must stop them.
In a sudden burst of courage, Elizabeth dashed forward, a light flickering in her hands. She remembered the symbols from the manuscript and how to counter the dark rituals. As she shouted the words of power, the air trembled and the energy in the crypt shifted. The cultists stumbled back, the incantation faltering as the light clashed with the shadows.
Stop her!
The confrontation escalated into chaos as the cultists attempted to overpower Elizabeth. But Samuel, breaking free from his trance, felt an unknown power surging within him. He focused on the statue of Nyarlathotep and with a shout joined Elizabeth in chanting the counter-incantation.
Nyarlathotep, be banished from this place.
An explosion of light enveloped the chamber, pushing the cultists back and shaking the very foundations of the crypt. Elizabeth and Samuel felt the overwhelming power of the incantation merge, forming a barrier against the encroaching darkness. At that moment, they realized that together, they were stronger than the shadows. The cultists faltered, their incantations lost in the blinding light. Nyarlathotep's image began to dissolve, replaced by a deep silence that resonated with the echoes of the past.
We did it! We stopped them!
But they knew that the darkness would always lurk, waiting for its moment to rise again. They had won this battle, but the war against the shadows was far from over.